Hello. Thank you for clicking onto this video. Welcome back to my channel if you are a returning viewer or a subscriber. And if you are new, thank you for checking out my little corner here on YouTube. Take a look around, see if there's anything that you like. And if you do enjoy this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button along with the bell button to be notified of whenever I do upload any content to my channel. I try my best to do a variety of videos, but most of my content is based around the country of my birth, Guyana. So if you're interested in Guyana, check out my video. Yeah. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this video, I want to open it up with a word of prayer. Can you bow your heads and close your eyes? Heavenly Father, I come to you this evening or today. Lord, I lift up the content of this video and everything that will be discussed. I pray, oh God, that whatever I may say, I may not overshare, but I will share enough to encourage my viewers out there to trust you in all of their ways for whatever it is that they are seeking you for. Oh Lord, I pray that this video will be a blessing to those who sees it, and it will be a source of encouragement for them, and may you be lifted up and glorified in this content. In no other name but in the wonderful and beautiful name I pray, in Jesus' name. Amen. I know most of you clicked on to this video because of the title, and I don't intend on sharing too much because I don't want too much of my life out there in cyber world. I'm fairly private. I'm a very private person, so this is a lot. I want to share my story in hopes that any of you beautiful ladies or even males who are watching this, ladies that are looking for a husband and men who are looking for a wife, this video will be a source of encouragement for you. Do not give up. So let's get into it. I have been married to my wonderful husband. I'm gonna put a picture of him here. We have been married almost 2 years. It's gonna be 2 years August. I live in the United States and my husband is currently residing in Guyana, South America. If you don't know where Guyana is, I'm going to post a video down below so you can be a little bit more acclimated about where Guyana is. So it's been amazing. It has its ups and downs, but I'm very thankful to the Lord for my husband. Our story began in 2016. I was coming out of a bad relationship. It was a long distance relationship, but it was a lot of stuff that was happening in that relationship, and I had made up my mind at the time that, you know what, I'm done with this. I need to be by myself. I need to be by myself, because leading up to that, I was always in a relationship. And for me, when I sat and I thought about why am I always in a relationship, it had to do with some insecurities that I had going on in my life, and also I didn't want to be alone. That's the truth. I was in a lot, not a lot, make it seem like I've been around the block, but I was in relationships that were not right for me. I remember this day, I can't remember exactly what day it was. My husband's cousin is a family friend. His cousin's parents and my mom were friends back in Guyana, and I remember whenever they would travel back to Guyana, his cousin's mom would always come to our house to see my mom and stuff like that. But I never knew the cousin. I just heard of him. I remember he would call our home here to speak to my mom, and I would give her the phone, and I didn't know him, never met him or anything like that. I remember this day he reached out to me, and he was like, I have a cousin that I want you to talk to. He's looking for someone to talk to or whatever. I said sure, because I wasn't looking for a relationship at the time, to be honest. I was coming out of a relationship with an individual. It was an on and off again relationship for a number of years. We had history because we had known each other since we were teens, and it was a lot of stuff that went on. Just to sum up that part of my life, I had went down to Guyana, and I was with that individual and their family for about 4 months, and after it was just a lot that was happening. I saw a lot of disrespectful stuff happening. I'm not the type of person that I'm going to cuss nobody or ain't gonna argue in public. I ain't gonna fight or none of that stuff. It looked as if I was condoning a lot of the disrespectful stuff, but I wasn't. In my mind, I had already made up my mind that when I come back, I'm going to leave. What pushed me even further, because even though I made that decision, when I came back, I was still dragging my feet. This individual relative reached out to me and had told me about, no, not his relative, his friend reached out to me and had told me that when I left, 2 girls came to see him. One was his friend, and then another one was for some other guy. To make a long story short, the person gave me the name and everything about this individual, and they had told me that this individual knew of me. They were around when I was there, but they just wasn't coming to the house and all this stuff. Never been in that type of situation before. Highly embarrassing. But I got all of the information. I reached out to this individual and I asked them about it. Instead of them either owning up to it or saying no, it's not true, whatever. Their main concern was who told me. I said, that is what you're worried about? Who told me? You're not gonna defend yourself. You're not gonna deny. You're not gonna confirm. Didn't do anything. Anyway, to make a long story short with that, I had found out the person that I was in a relationship with, okay, and they were talking about marriage and all this kind of stuff, but we gonna get to that. We gonna get to that in another video, because it wasn't gonna work. I wasn't gonna marry that individual because we were completely unequally yoked. This individual's family reached out to me and said to me, I can't keep the secret. I can't keep this from you anymore. I can't do it. And I was at work, right? And they were like, such and such name is being called with the same girl, right? That was his friend, and saying that she's pregnant. That was it for me. I broke down at work. I cried the remainder of the day. I was like, I'm done. I don't care if it's true or not. I am done, because you're in a relationship and your name should never be called in a situation like that. If the individual turns up pregnant, you're cheating. If the individual doesn't turn up pregnant, you still cheated because you've been there. I remember calling this individual and I said to them, what is this I'm hearing? And they were like, oh, they got find out and all. I said, okay, you know what? I said, you go and you find out. I said, I'm not gonna be waiting for you or anything like that. It hurt. That situation hurt because of the history that we had, but he had to step out of the way. And how I look at it is that God allowed the secret to everything that was happening to be unfolded before my eyes. It was so embarrassing. That is what made me cry the most. All of this situation was known by people I was the last to know. I'm thankful the Lord allowed it to happen the way that it happened, so that when I walked away from that situation, I would not have felt any guilt. So fast forward now to 2016, my husband's cousin reached out to me. He's like, oh, I want you to talk to my cousin. He's looking for someone to talk to. Again, I wasn't looking for a relationship. I wasn't trying to talk to anybody. For a while. In that period of time, I spent a lot of time with the Lord, crying to him about a lot of situations that had occurred in my life in the past, things that I couldn't understand, that was playing a role, that played a major role in the relationships that I had leading up to when I met my husband. I said, okay, I'll talk to him, but I wasn't trying to be in anything. Because I really wanted the Lord to work on me. I really wanted to get to know who I was and to see me the way that God sees me, how Christ sees me. So he ended up adding me on Facebook, right? And I was getting ready to come off of it because that was a distraction for me as well. He added me. I accepted the friend request. It's like almost immediately he had sent me a message. He's like, hi, thanks for adding me. And I was like, sure, no problem. He asked me how I was keeping, and then he told me that he's such and such cousin, and I'm like, I'm well. I know. He told me, and I was like, how are you? And you know, we had small talk. He used to text me every day on Messenger, on Facebook Messenger. It was cute, but I wasn't trying to give off anything like, oh, I want to be with this guy the minute I start talking to him. I let him know off the bat. I put everything on the table. I let him know what I was coming out of. I'm really desiring a relationship with the Lord, and that's my primary focus, all this stuff. But we used to talk every day. By talking every day, to me, it's like he had a little strategy. He's like, oh, I'm gonna talk to this girl every day and I'm gonna wear her down. He used to tell me how I was beautiful. He told me how he ran through my photos and he thought that my photos were really beautiful and all this stuff. And in Guyana, we got to saying it's a spirit taking world. And how he told me that after we were talking continuously, consistently, he was like, my gut keeps telling me that I should keep talking to you, for lack of a better term. So, I mean, to me, I felt like he was trying to game me. So I was playing along with it, but I was low key. I went through his pictures and everything, and initially I thought that he was from the hometown that I was born in, Linden. Had he been from Linden, then it would have been a no. I don't know why, but for some reason, guys that were from my hometown, I just couldn't do it. So that's mostly how we, communicated. We ended up exchanging numbers and we would communicate on WhatsApp. So we communicated on WhatsApp and we communicated on Facebook. After doing a little bit of discovery about him, found out we were the same age. His birthday and my birthday are same month. We were born the same year, but he is 5 days older than I am. I was like, that's crazy. I found out that he used to live in Trinidad. He asked me about when I plan on having children and all this stuff. And I said, whenever I'm married. Like, when he would talk to me, I would respond and I would just be myself with him. Although I was just dealing with a lot emotionally at the time, I would just be myself with him. So he ended up asking me about my relationship status, and I answered him. I asked him about his, and he answered me. I remember when he asked me if I was single, right? I told him that it was complicated. The reason why I said it was complicated is because, again, I was coming out of that relationship and I was still a little emotionally broken in it. So that's why I didn't want to be in a relationship with anybody else. I really needed time to get to know me aside from being with somebody. I had asked him if he was single, and he said to me no. Well, I believed him. I said okay, because in my mind we weren't in a relationship, we were just friends. He asked me and I told him what it was. I told him the truth, and I thought, well, in my mind I'm thinking, okay, if I ask him, he's gonna tell me the truth because he doesn't owe me anything. So we continued talking, talking as per normal. And like I said, as time progressed, I started to fall for him a little bit. I knew that he was really into me, and he had told me after we talked about this many times. He had told me that had really liked me from the moment he saw me. So he had wanted to be married. He wanted to have a family of his own. He had desired that. When he met me, he told me this. He said he knew early on that he had wanted to have me in his life, wanted to settle down. Like, he was already ready for that type of a life. Guys, this is harder than I thought it would have been. He joked around a lot. He made me laugh a lot. I made him laugh. I remember he told me a story that I'm not gonna share about him, and I never laughed so much. I laughed till my belly gets shocked. It was just so refreshing. During the time when we were talking on Messenger, and I had asked him about his relationship status, and he had told me that he was single. Girl, I want to say a few months later, after he told me that morning, I received a text message. It was from a girl. She was like, do you know your husband or whatever? Well, she told me his name. I'm like, yeah, I know him, we're friends. And then she was like, what? She said she's his girlfriend and they live together, girl. She was like, oh, he did get head. We're in an on and off relationship. She told me she knew his cousin and everything. How they've been together for 2 years, I think, and they were supposed to get married on her birthday. I said, well, you know, him and I are just friends. So I mean, I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to get into your, I don't want to break up a relationship or anything like that, but we're just friends. He never told me that you're in a relationship. He was in a relationship. But she said, it is break up, but it is always get back together and all this stuff. So, but I got mad. I was like, this guy lied to me. I don't like men that just lie. I don't like liars. To me, a person could steal from you, which is stealing is bad. But when people lie to you, that's dangerous. People could look you dead in your face and tell you a lie. That's a dangerous individual. If I'm being honest, I was a little bummed. However, she was like, don't tell you to talk to me. She said that she was sneaking his phone and all this stuff, and that's how she got my contact or whatever. I ended up letting him know. I told him, I said, I was mad. I called him, I said, you're a liar. You get girlfriend. I asked if you got a girlfriend. I said, I told you everything. I told you the truth, everything about me, and you told me, you said you ain't got no girlfriend. Oh gosh. I was like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't like liars. He wanted to try to explain himself. I said, I don't want to talk to you. And I was gonna like cut him off, right? I was gonna cut him off. He wanted to explain himself, but I just didn't want to hear it. Again, I said, I don't want to deal with, I'm not going through this, right? He's like, oh, you don't want to talk to me? Alright, pics, fine. And we stopped talking for a while. Mind you, all this happened, we didn't even meet each other in person or anything, because he's in Guyana and I'm here. In my mind, I'm like, you know, all men are the same. Because he made himself out to be this real nice person and blah blah blah, and then this happened. I'm like, you know what, these men are all the same. I'm done. I'm like, I'm just gonna let God choose for me. More than 2 months. It was either a month and a half or 3 weeks or something like that. I can't remember, but we had stopped talking. And then he ended up reaching out to me, and I can't remember how we started talking back, but we started talking back again. He ended up telling me about this girl, and he was like, they were in a relationship, they broke up, she was living there, it didn't work out. I can't put the man business out there. I'm gonna wait for us to do a video. If he decides to share his story, he will. It just didn't work out. He ended up leaving. He ended up being by himself. We weren't in a relationship, but he said to me, he's like, why you get mad if we were in a relationship? You like me? I'm like, no, I did a little bit. It's a bad girl, you know. I ain't not gonna tell you though. Eventually had asked me to, you know, be in a relationship with him, and I was so hesitant about it because of past relationships and how they went. After praying, I decided to be in a relationship with him, and let me tell y'all, it was not easy. Although we did not see each other again from the time we started talking, well, the first initial contact with each other to actually seeing him in person was 2 years, 2 whole years. So I had ended up going back to Guyana after being outside of Guyana for about 5 years, and I ended up meeting him for the first time. When we met, it was like, I don't know, it was like I've known this guy all of my life. Everything just was so smooth. He was really nervous because he thought that I'm coming from the United States, and you know, when I went to his house or whatever, the house that we now live in, it was now building, and I had told him I grew up in a certain way, not rich, but I know about certain things, and I don't ever want to be with an individual for just what they can do for me. I'm not with you for vanity reasons, and I don't want you to feel as though you have to pretend to be something or be someone that you're not. Be yourself. This is what it is. I know that it's not gonna be this way forever. So many times I tried to assure him that I'm not like that. Like, I'm not materialistic, I'm not shallow or anything like that. After we met, it was just wonderful. We spent a lot of time with each other. All of my time I spent with him when I was down there, and we got to know each other a little bit more. I met his mom, his dad, I met some of his siblings. I talked to his son a little bit. He didn't meet my family as yet because we needed to spend time with each other. One day before I came back, I went to see my aunt, my mom's sister. The condition that my aunt is in is not the condition that I like to see her in, because that's not how I want to remember her. Of when I was younger, we used to go to she used to take us to the seawall every Saturday morning when I would go spend holidays by her in Campbellville, which is now Bel Air Park. And she would take all of us to the seawall to walk and stuff like that. My aunt was a go-getter. Now she's bedridden, so it's hard for me to see her in that condition. When we went to see her, he came and my aunt saw him. When she saw him, her eyes lit up, because the way that I was with my aunt, I gave her a hug. She saw me, she knew me. It was just so beautiful. And then when she saw D, she was like, he's gonna make a really nice husband one day. You know, she was in a good mood that day. When I left Guyana that time in 2018, we had talked about marriage. We had talked about within the 2 years span, because we were dating for 2 years at the time before meeting in person. We talked about a lot of things. We wanted children. He wants children. I want children. When we have children, I'm gonna stay home and take care of the home, and he's gonna work. We're on the same page with that. Leading up to me meeting him, I was pretty independent. The only person that would give me anything was my mom. I never asked anybody else for anything, or I tried my best not to. I just asked mom and God, and I worked everything, so I never depended on a man for anything. That was another thing that I had to understand, that once I get married, I'm gonna have to depend on my husband and let my husband be the man, or let him be the head of the home. I came back from Guyana. He ended up talking to my mom for that short period of time. It was a 2-week trip. I knew in a way that he wanted us to get married, but I thought that we would have gotten engaged, but we didn't. Him and my mom talked, and my mom had a lot of questions for him about what he wanted, what was his plan, why he wanted to be with me, where he saw things going, and all this stuff. The following year, I had went down to Guyana. How long did I go down there? I think it was a month. In August of 2019, we ended up getting married. August 10th of 2019. Leading up to that point, we argued so much and we butted heads so much on the day that we got married. Oh my goodness, I would never forget that day. We got into the biggest brawl, and it was over the smallest thing. And I think that the enemy was trying, when we were dating, he tried everything that he could to break us up. But on our wedding day, that was like his big trouble ball he threw at us, and we bite the bait, and we argued. I didn't have a wedding dress. I got married in white jeans and a tunic top from Zara. He had on a pair of blue jeans and a white tee. We didn't have a wedding ceremony. I always wanted a big wedding when I was younger, but as I got older, I started to understand, as the Lord was training me for marriage, that desire just dwindled, because you spend so money on a wedding ceremony, but you don't really focus on the marriage, and the marriage is what's most important. That day we had to be at the church for like 5 o'clock, and we argued up to maybe 4 o'clock. He rowed, I rowed, I put on the makeup, and I'm getting dressed. I did my hair and everything. Before you know it, he got dressed and he went up to the church, right? And I'm like, I not gonna marry you, yeah, marry you. If this why God deal with me, why do this, mom? And my mom were like, yeah, get dressed and go to the church and go and get married. And I ended up going to the church late. I got there like 5:30, and he thought that I wasn't gonna come because he's sitting there and he was like nervous. He didn't think I was gonna come. I went and I sat next to him, and we had a small counseling session. It lasted for like 10-15 minutes. It was just the pastor and his wife and my husband and myself in the church. My mom was on WhatsApp because she was over here. I didn't have nobody there. We had no family there or anything like that. It was just the 4 of us and the Lord. So I went from being friends, falling out, coming back to each other, working it out, meeting, did not get engaged, got married. We met in 2016 and we got married in 2019. And I asked him the other day, I said, why did you tell me that you didn't have no girlfriend? Well, you know you had a girlfriend. he didn't want to lose me because he knew that if he had told me the truth, I would have walked away or something like that, which is true. But I'm like, I would have preferred you to tell me. Guys, I know this video is going to be so long. Leading up to marriage, the Lord had to remove a lot of people out of my life. My husband reminds me of my uncle that passed away. He's hardworking. He's a family man. He's a family man. He does have his ways, which we all have our ways. There are some things that he does that I do not like, and I'm sure there are things that I do that he doesn't like. So the Lord is working on both of us. I remember when I was in my quiet moments, I used to pray and I would tell the Lord, I used to tell God the kind of man that I would want in my life. Prior to meeting my husband, all of the other people that I was in a relationship with were people that I chose, and they were the wrong people for me. They reminded me a lot about my own father. I don't even have a relationship with my father, but the certain things that they would have done, you know, being womanizers, not really being there for me as a man should have, and they knew the kind of woman that I was. I'm not the type of person to give up on people, and I let that be known. It drained so much me. So when I met my husband, when we were courting, although I told him, I'm like, I'm not the type to give up on you, but because he was coming out of a relationship, I was coming out of a relationship clashing a lot, I was just like, I can't deal with it. Although I'm not the type to give up on somebody, I can't deal with this. But the Lord was the one. He used people and he himself knitted us back together. It's like God created him for me and me for him. He balances me out and I balance him out. We were both in situations that really took more from us. For you ladies who are looking, you desire to be married, there are two things that I would say are requirements. One is you have to humble yourself before the Lord and submit yourself to him and be obedient to him and be open to him removing and training you to be the kind of woman that you created to be, he created you to be, and the kind of wife that he would desire for you to be for the husband that he has specifically created for you. I had to go through fire. It was hot, it was hard, it was long, it was hurtful, it was lonely, it was a lot of tears, uncertainty, not sure what is happening, why this is happening. I have a love for my husband that I can't even begin to explain, and as time progresses, I pray that it will grow deeper and deeper and deeper every day, and I pray the same for him. You know, I believe that God is the one that has written this story, and if I wasn't obedient and if I didn't humble myself before God and if I didn't go to him every day and if I didn't allow him to do the work in my life to change me, I'm really thankful because I really got to see who I am in his eyes, see how he sees me. I really got to know who I am aside from being connected to somebody, because it was as if those relationships were above him. You know, I was doing so much to please these people that I was with, and it wasn't enough. So I kept wanting to be more and more and more, and I gave so much of me that when it was done, I had nothing left. So when I went to the Lord, I was broken, I was a mess all over the place. He restored me. Just allow the Lord to do the work in your life. Let him train you, and he will be focused on him. Don't focus on, oh God, I want a man, I want a husband, I wanted this, I wanted that. Focus on him. I don't know when he will send him to you. It could be tomorrow, it could be a week from today, a month, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Just keep in him, because in him is where you'll get all your needs supplied. God is concerned about every aspect of our lives. Fellas, you want to find your wife? He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. You want the Lord to show you your wife? Go to him. I think that's it. If you made it to the end, you are a trooper. And stay tuned for other videos. I will be sharing how we make our marriage work, being long distance from each other, and stay tuned for that video. All right guys, take care, God bless you, and I pray the Lord in his time will send you your equal. Bye. God bless.